Hey everyone, so for this tutorial you're going to need two hair dye colours. I'm using spring green and I'm also diluting alpine green with some white conditioner, so I'll be using a mixing bowl and a teaspoon. You're also going to need an application brush or two, some cling film, some plastic gloves and some hair clips. The first thing you're going to need to do is split your hair directly down the middle to create a centre part that goes all the way to the back hairline. Then you're going to want to brush through your hair and take your first hair dye colour. I'm taking my spring green directly on my application brush and carefully I'm starting to apply that on one side of my parting. When doing this you need to be very careful as you want to create an immaculate line. Once you've done your top parting, you're going to want to go all the way around this half of your hair. So the front hairline, the back of the middle part. This part can be quite difficult, so if you're not completely confident in doing this yourself, get somebody to help you. You should be okay though if you have two mirrors and a steady hand. Then you're going to do the very back bottom part of the section and also the outer side. If you're doing your hair a bright semi-permanent colour like me, your hair will need to be quite blonde, but your hair will only need to be very white if you're doing a pastel colour half and half. However, if you're going for like red and black, then it won't need to be super bleached at all. Once you've gone all the way around that section, you're going to want to measure out approximately how much cling film you'll need to cover half your head. To mix up my second colour, I used about a teaspoon of alpine green and a full bowl of conditioner, as you can see in this clip. So then taking another application brush, I am just applying this dye, again very carefully, to the other side of my parting, but I'm only doing it at the top and all the way down to the back of my hairline. I'm not going all the way around this section just yet. So I'm sticking the cling film on top of the dye on this side of my head. I just find that having the dye there helps stick it down so it doesn't move around as much. And now we're going to put on our gloves. And taking the end of an application brush, take around 2 centimeter thick sections and apply the dye on either side of the split that you just made. You want to be quite careful in making sure that the dye is fully saturated on every strand of hair, as you don't want to have any blonde splodges showing when you're done. So just keep making small sections and apply the dye on either side. You're going to do this all the way through this section until you're done. So once you've done, you're just going to want to check to make sure that you haven't missed any areas at all. If you have, just slap some dye straight on and rub it in. When applying the dye to my lengths, I find using a brush is kind of not the best way. So I like to use the dye, just put some in my hand, grab a small section of hair and rub and pull the dye through so it fully saturates all the strands. And then just keep taking small sections of hair and doing this until this colour is done. When I've finished, I'll just take any excess dye I have and rub it in wherever I think needs it most. So then you're going to clip up that section, either get some new gloves or wash the ones you have, and take the cling film off one part of your hair and clip it onto the other side. Then we're just going to repeat the whole process all over again on the other side, applying the dye all the way around this section. And then working your way through by taking little sections and applying the dye on either side. Again, check there's no blonde splodges anywhere, and start working on the lengths. Once you've completely done that, just clip the sections up separately, just to make sure you don't get any dye on furniture or anything. You can leave it on from 15 minutes to, well, days if you want, as this doesn't damage your hair, but I left mine on for a couple of hours. When washing it out, just make sure you keep the two colours separate, as you don't want them to run into each other and ruin the whole effect. And mine turned out like this. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video, guys.